What if 2020 isn't a bad year, but it's the start of a bad decade? Not much I can do except make the best decisions for me and keep chugging along. This is the most positive comment in this section I've seen this far. Thank you. I was ready to just lay down in bed and feel horribly empty and helpless until I read this. Mad Max, here we come. Who killed the world? We did. Well, frick. All of humanity summed up in one sentence basically. The last Reddit post will be a picture of a desolate planet with an endless F comment section. And thousands of wholesome rewards. Then I picked the wrong decade to stop sniffing glue. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious and don't call me Shirley. No problem, just wait for the smartest who comments the decade starts on 2021. Why do you say this? Climate change has entered the chat. Well, obviously that's what it is. 2020 isn't a series of freak accidents, it's a series of extremely predictable and interconnected disasters that could probably have been prevented. The pandemic surely isn't going away on the 31st of December, and the economic pains will last even longer, even if no other disaster happens for the rest of the decade. People are acting like everything is going to magically be better as soon as the clock strikes midnight. It's not. We're going to be dealing with actual COVID for a long time and the fallout even longer. While I admire the optimism of people thinking 2020 in the problem, I also don't want a false sense of hope. SHHHSHHH, shut the frick up. Increasing economic disparity, shrinking job markets, global warming. Global pandemic. Hard to be optimistic about the future. And what makes it even worse is that most people won't be prepared when things go south. We're also used to living in peace and comfort. And we've all grown accustomed to having the services that provide us with our everyday needs available to us. There are very few of us who would even know what to do in the event of a SHTF scenario where these services grind to a halt. My projections for the 2020s are more low mid-intensity interstate conflicts, with the potential of one of them escalating. The beginning of mass migrations due to environmental pressures. Rising inequality. And rising nationalism. Yeah, pretty much, migrations will be shoot. Remember Syria? That's gonna happen more. Unstable areas plus agriculture, devastating weather equals migrant crisis, which makes areas less stable and puts more strain on their agriculture. Then it is what it is. Because it's bad, it doesn't mean that anything good can happen. Someone will find their soulmate. Somebody will see their child for the first time. Someone will get an organ donation they so desperately need. Someone will find a hobby they enjoy and will grow to love. Somebody will buy their first house. Someone will achieve what they worked hard for. Sometimes those things will happen in public, sometimes in private. But I guarantee that it will happen. No matter how much of a bad insert time span it is, there will always good things happening, and you will never have to look far for you to see them. May something good happen to you today. Bring it on, I guess. Can't do nothing about it. My great-grandparents and great-grandparents got through war, economic depression, and a pandemic without a gaming PC, no reason I can't do it with one. Not that it'd be easy. I'd probably cry a lot if every year ended up like this one. I could really use a break. But I'd do it, even if just to piss off all the fascists, extremists, and troglodytes that want me and my values dead and buried. For some reason, even 10-20 years ago, I always thought something very bad was going to happen in the 2020s. But that might just be because so many sci-fi things were set in the 2020s or something. I think you're probably right, and it's important to get out of this frick 2020 mindset because things aren't getting better in the near future, and acting like things are going to get better next year, like COVID will just go away, is setting a lot of folks up for disappointment. 2020 is the trailer for 2021. Since people can't fricking wear a mask or stay home, I bet those same people are gonna go to New Year's parties, and then there will be a massive spike, and then it's just going to get worse till the FDA decides to approve medicine for it. You shut your whore mouth right now. As someone who graduated high school in 2008, I feel like they're all going to be bad decades for us. This isn't some bad year. This is the culmination of decades of ignorance, apathy and selfishness. All of this shoot was seen in advance and warned against, yet here we are. This year isn't something that is happening to us. We actually directly caused it with our stupidity. Decades. You forgot the S. Thanks. Frick you too. In recent times it seems that the start of the decade is always the worst. 1980s started with the after effects of the oil crisis and lead to the European missile crisis. The 90s started with the collapse of the Eastern Bloc, the 2000s started with 9/11 attacks and following wars in the Middle East, the 2010s started with the European debt crisis and the Arabian Spring. And now the 2020s start with a pandemic. But all examples from before show us that in the end we still live and life improves for most people. Just think about how much we combated famine, poverty and anti-democratic governments in the last 3 decades. Progress is happening, even when we have these setbacks. 1970s, beginning of the oil crisis. 1960s, Cuban Missile Crisis. 1950s, Korean War. 1940s, early stages of WW2. 1930s, Great Depression. Maybe you're onto something. TBH. My thoughts are 2020 feels like a prequel to the Hunger Games. I don't know that a spoiler tag was really called for here. Dramatic effect. Oh, I see. 2020 doesn't have the monopoly on bad years. Remember when 2019 was a bad year? And 18? And 17? Is this a very strange year in human history? Absolutely. Is it magnified by the fact it's an election year, at least in America, but everyone seems to be watching? No doubt. Have we seen worse years in human history? That's a huge and undisputed yes. This decade will have its fair share of ups and downs, deaths that hit hard, years that hurt your soul and take away pinnacles of your childhood memories. The only way that doesn't happen is if your life is the one that ends during the time frame, and then what's to worry about? Television and social media has a tendency to have us not see past the moment you're in as if it will last forever. This too shall pass, both good and bad, and we'll make it out on the other end. If not, there's still nothing to worry about, because it'll all be over anyway. Survive and thrive or surrender and die, at the end it's up to your choices and a bit of luck, and I wish you the best of both. Well, all I can say is death is unavoidable. So is pain, suffering is not. I mean, in truth 2020 isn't that bad of a year. Yeah, it sucked in comparison to the last decade or so, but we've had worse stretches. The Great Depression made this seem like a cakewalk. 2001 was a pretty rough year, if you'll recall. And 2002 wasn't a whole lot better. There was a housing collapse in the mid-late 00s. I remember because my mom actually lost her house during that time, and I was still a kid living with her. We've had pandemics before, we'll have them again. Life ain't that bad yet. Buoot. You raise a good question. What if this is only the beginning? Biden appears to be on track to win the election. Lordy, I need a Xanax. Thanks for stressing me out. I wonder how stressed people would have been if Twitter and Facebook existed in 1917. Social media during major historical events is funny to think about. At Real Adolf Hitler. RT if Jewish. At JFK. Beautiful morning in Dallas. Rollin' with the top down. Numbersons outguns out. At PAULREVERE 69420. The British are cooming lol number hideo kids number hideo wife. At Geeser. Just going to see the Senate. Hope my main man at Brutus is there. Number Truehemes. At Martin Luther. 95 things wrong with the church. BuzzFeed. Com 95 thing the crutch needs to stop. At Pope this user had blocked you from seeing their tweets. I can't wait to post this in Ara Jedlikwine in 2027 if I'm still alive and if there's still the internet. I will go to the CO of bad stuff and personally ask them to stop. Please let's not put this in people's minds. It can damage people's already fragile mental state. Let's keep giving people hope, the world is already crap enough as it is. Stay safe people, check on the people around you, make sure they know they can talk to you and that they're not alone. A lot of people have lost loved ones and jobs this year and are feeling helpless, let them know you're there for them. We all need each other during these times and not making it worse for others. Thank you. Frick. Getting a dang anxiety attack over here.